Hey, how's it? Peoi, and welcome to episode number 103 of the Cool Practice Podcast. I'm your host, Aipa, and today we're diving into mana, what many of us in the Pacific and in Hawaii know as this source of energy that exists in all things. Today we're going to explore 3 tips on how to cultivate your mana in this modern whirlwind that we live in today. So grab a cup of coffee or relax wherever you are. Maybe you're stuck in traffic, and let's get started. Remember, mana is an energy source that exists in all things. We all possess mana. Now, we can build up our mana or we can lose our mana depending on our actions, our behaviors, the words we share and we speak. One of my teachers taught me that mana can also lead to a level of leadership. So the more mana you have, the more of a leadership role you play. Doesn't mean that you have to be the most outspoken person and everything. It could also just be your presence and how you hold yourself and your posture and how you interact with people and the energy that you share with those around you. And when you walk into the room, what kind of energy are you bringing into that room? Now, mana can be good, but it also can be bad. And it all depends on the individual and how they're going to use the mana that they possess in order to have an impact or influence on those around them. So again, mana is simply seen as this energy source that all things possess, even you. So tip number 1 is Āina, embrace the land. Mana, that life force within us, is also connected to the land, or Āina. So take time to connect with nature. You know, there's this whole movement within the science world and all this health and wellness and well-being world, and they're talking about how we have to ground ourselves and do grounding, whereas the act of walking barefoot on the earth. And it's something that many of us who grew up in Hawaii did naturally, right? We just walked around barefoot, even went to school barefoot sometimes because it was just what we did. But now there's this whole other movement where grounding and walking barefoot is like the best thing you can do for your health. But there is truth to that because it's that action of grounding yourself and feeling the earth beneath you. It's like the whole feeling when we go to the beach, right? And we walk on the sand, or we go to the park, we just walk on the grass, and we just feel that connection with the Āina. We feel the vibration. The Āina has so much mana, right? So another one we can also talk about is not only walking barefoot on the land, but also swimming in the ocean or any bodies of water that you can come across. I remember recently I went to, not too long ago, I was in Hupa reservation visiting the Hupa tribe, and I was taken to one of the creeks that they have where they jump inside, and it's super cold. It's just like straight mountain ice water. But they jump inside of there. It's a way for them to just kind of invigorate their spirit and, have that kind of a ritual. And even getting out of that water, I felt rejuvenated. Not only because it was this freezing cold water, and I was like, oh, this is like a shock to the whole system, but because there's also that nature behind it. It's ice that's being melted from the top of the mountain, coming down the mountain through this creek area and continuing out. And we're right in there feeling all of that energy coming through us. And then another thing is that we can just simply sit underneath a tree and focus on our breath, our ha, right? Just to breathe in and out and just being in that present moment. Our kupuna, our ancestors, believe that in respecting and nurturing the land, we honor ourselves and cultivate our own inner strength and build up our own mana. There's an Olelo No'ia, or Hawaiian proverb, that goes, He ali'i ka Āina, he kaua ke kanaka. The land is a chief, and man is her servant. Tip number 2, Lōkahi. Lōkahi is the concept of harmony and unity, and it teaches us the value of balance in relationships, not only within ourselves, but others and the world around us. Now, the Hawaiian word for relationship is pilina. And there is a saying that goes, the pilina you have with yourself has an effect on all the other pilina that you have. Meaning that when you have a bad relationship with yourself, it has an impact on the relationships you have with your friends, your family, and even the environment that's around you. So it's important to take a moment each day to reflect on how you're nurturing your connections, your pilina, and most importantly, how do you vala out to yourself, right? How do you speak to yourself? That is such an important concept to understand and also to reflect on, because when you do that, you also gain more self-awareness of where your state of mind is. And if you're having a hard time speaking to yourself kindly, take a moment, breathe, ask for help, or surround yourself with people who support you. The ways that you can improve your connection to enhance the way you feel Lōkahi and the harmony and unity within is through active listening, acts of kindness, aloha, or simply being present. And that is something that is so important in today's age, in this modern world of digital age and everything, is to be more present. Being present is something that I've been focusing a lot more. It's that when I'm speaking with something, I want to make sure that they have my full attention, making eye contact, nodding with them. And I'm not allowing my mind to drift off into other places. And I think that's an important thing for people to experience, is the act of being present and being in the current moment. And when you're with an individual, you give them your full attention. Or even when you're with yourself, sometimes we get distracted. We distract ourselves from thinking, from reflection, from introspection. Do that whole doom scrolling, or we worry about other things, or we just stay busy because we don't want to spend time with ourselves in silence because we are afraid of what we may confront. But by fostering harmony and Lōkahi, it can contribute to our collective mana. It can help us build our mana. So if you feel unbalanced, it's important that you take a step back, see what's going on in your current state that you're in, what is causing you to feel unbalanced, and do what you have to do in order to feel Lōkahi again, in order to feel ku, to stand taller, to be more grounded, and to exist in where you are at that moment. Tip number 3 is Pono, righteousness. Lastly, Pono emphasizes living with integrity and, again, balance. It's about doing what's right, being in alignment with oneself and the community. Now, I remember taking this leadership course with one of my teachers and mentors, and we're talking about leadership. And he is saying great leaders do the right thing at the right time in the right way. And I asked him, well, how do you know if you're doing the right thing at the right time in the right way? And he simply said, experience. And that is so true, because through experience, you will make mistakes, you will have failures, you will have triumphs. But it's during those mistakes and failures that you must learn how to do it right the next time. That's also where you can reflect on your actions and choices. My mom used to always tell us when we go holo, go cruise with our friends, and we'll leave the house and we're like, okay, mom, take it easy, we'll be right back. And she would just yell out, all right, make good choices. And that's exactly what she wanted to do. She wanted to make sure that whatever we're thinking of doing, wherever we're going, that we're being Pono, and that we made good choices. Now, of course, as a Kolohe kid, sometimes when we were younger, we didn't make the best choices, but we hopefully learned from those choices that we made and wouldn't do them again. So it's that striving for integrity and fairness in all that you do and staying Pono, making sure that you are being in line with your moral compass that you have. So by seeking balance and making choices that align with your values, right, what you stand for, we enhance our mana, we build our mana, and we can contribute positively to the world. So just to kind of reflect on these 3 tips, right? Tip number 1, Āina, embrace the land, connect with nature, surround yourself with the energy that nature already provides for you. Tip number 2, Lōkahi, harmony and unity. Find what brings you balance, and if you're feeling unbalanced, do what you feel is necessary to regain feeling Lōkahi again. Tip number 3 is Pono, righteousness, acting righteously. Okay, it's about doing what's right, being in alignment with oneself and the community. Okay, so make good choices. Now, in closing thoughts, building your mana in this modern world isn't about making big body or grand gestures, but embracing these simple yet profound principles, connecting with the land, nurturing harmony, and living with integrity. Thanks again for tuning in to the Ku Project podcast today. Remember, building your mana is a journey. It's a daily practice that brings us closer to our truest selves. It helps us keep it cool. So until next time, stay connected, stay balanced, stand tall, take it easy. Ahui ho. Aloha.